Hey, welcome to dinnerwithjp.com. Tonight we are doing our fish casserole. So let's look through the ingredients straight away. Let's not waste any time. Okay, so we start with some dry tomato paste. We've got some extra virgin olive oil. We've got some black pepper. We've got cubes of fish stock. We've got some salt. We've got some butter, 20 grams. A bag of cauliflower, carrots and broccoli. We've got 1 onion. We've got some cod from the fish counter. We've got some smoked mackerel. And then we've got some aluminium foil for the cooking. Okay, so let's start. Now, before we start, I'm going to use the oven tonight, so I'm going to put the oven on. So if you want to put your oven on, electric's about 220, so nice and hot, so it's ready for cooking. Now, if you don't have an oven, or if you don't have an oven dish, now I'm using those two very straightforward oven dishes. They were on the recipe this morning. But if you don't have those two, you can do a normal oven dish like that, just one basically. Doesn't really matter. And if you don't have an oven, you can use it, do exactly the same thing, but instead of cooking in the oven, put it in the dishes, you put it in a pan and put it on the stove, cooking very slowly, not too hot. But we'll go through that in a minute, okay? So, let's start the cooking. So, let's first of all peel the onion. I'm using my favorite knife as usual. Thank you again, Carol, for that. It's great. So let's peel the onion. I'm not going to say I'm going to cry because that's what I say every night, but it may happen. You never know. There we go. I've got quite a lot of birthday messages again. Well, not just birthday messages, but quite a lot of messages on www.dinnerwithjp.com. If you'd like to send me a message, you can put it on the blog, or if you like, you can just send me an email at jp@dinnerwithjp.com, and I'll gladly put it through the video and give you friends or lovers or whoever they are a quick message while we're cooking. So let's cut the onion, as I always do. Make sure it's quite large pieces. There we go. I was watching a cooking program the other day, actually. I never actually do watch cooking program because it annoys me how much fluffing around they do. Let's do little pieces of this and a little piece of that, and make sure it's not too big or too small. And it makes absolutely no difference in the cooking itself if the pieces are big. I find them actually much better because then you can actually test the pieces. So, right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some salt, like that, okay, usual amount. So we divide this in two. Now, as I said earlier, if you only do it in one big dish in the oven, just put everything in the dish, or if you put it in the pan, excuse me, put it all in the pan. Then you divide the onions between two. There we go. Make sure you go, as usual, the equal amount on each side, otherwise you create domestic arguments. So, we've done that. So, what we're going to do is to take some of the vegetables. Now, I love those, but they are quite chunky. So, what we're going to do is cut them in half. So, 1/2 here, 1/2 there. There you go. Now, we may not use the whole bag, but don't worry about it, because we will have plenty more. Those bags usually last about 4 or 5 days, and especially with vegetable. Now, meat is a bit different. A vegetable, sell-by date, yes, okay. They have to put a sell-by date on it, because otherwise we wouldn't know when to not to use it, but you can usually keep those bags, and I do it all the time, about 2 to 3 days after the sell by date, and you have no effect whatsoever. I believe when they actually pack those bags, they use a special gas. I think it's not neon, but something like helium or whatever it is, inert gas with the vegetables, so they don't actually perish that quick. So, right, so you cover the bottom of it. We will probably use the rest as well. I think we'll have plenty to use. Now we have been cooking for 5 minutes, so we're doing very well on time. Okay, so at that point, lovely black pepper. Now don't be scared. This is an electric one, but if you have to do by hand, well, tough. You just want a generous amount of black pepper. There we go. So put the black pepper in there. Now what we're going to do is to take the smoked mackerel. So open the smoked mackerel. There we go. Now, depends where you buy it from different supermarkets. Sometimes it comes into strip, sometimes it comes in 2 different, like big pieces, but it's exactly the same. Now, we're not going to use the whole mackerel. The trouble is you can't find small pieces basically on the counter anymore. So what we're going to use, we use what we need, and the rest of it, you put it in a bag, and we put it through the freezer, and you can use them again. It does say most of the things that you can actually refreeze. I'm just going to check here. Suitable for freezing. So use whatever you can, and the rest put it through the freezer. We can use it again another time. I use smoked mackerel quite a lot, just because it's an oily fish, which is very good for you, and it's very cheap. So same as we did before. First thing you do, you take the skin off. Okay, take the skin off like that, because the skin is actually quite chewy when it's cooked. Okay, I always take the end of it with the tail of the fish, because otherwise it's a bit hard. Now, I hope you can see, I'm just going to put a few pieces at the bottom. So let's say 3 pieces of mackerel in there. Let's do the same thing with the other one. So to take the skin off, just cut it in half and peel. It's quite easy. Now, if you don't like the smell of fish, well, you're not going to really love this very much, because it's very much like that. So let's put it here again, so you can see. So in 3 little pieces around like that. So you got 3 pieces. We should leave first with 2 fillets, which I will put in the freezer when I'm finished afterwards. So don't worry about it. It's freezable. You can put it through the freezer, and you can have it again another time. Now, this is actually very good for morning breakfast as well. So more and more people actually use mackerel. So let's wash our hands. Take the skin away, put it in the bin. There we go. So we've done the mackerel, and it leaves us now with we're going to do is we're going to take some hot water. So in a cup, normal, cup, take some hot water. Make sure it's very hot, because it's not hot enough, it won't actually dissolve easily. There we go. Fill up a few cups hot water, nearly to the top, and take your fish cube and put them in the cup. There we go, that's 1. Now, I always use 2, because they are very good, but they can be a bit tasteless, I think, if you don't have enough. So now obviously the mackerel will do the trick as well, but there we go. So and leave them dissolve for until we're actually ready. Give it a quick stir from time to time. Just take your cup and, a good stir. There we go. It takes about 5 minutes for the things to dissolve, so we should be done by then. Right, okay. Let's do the fish. So you take your fillet, cod fillet. Now this is from the counter. Again, it's just because it was easier for me to take it from the counter. if you do, you can actually buy it as well from, lovely. Now, fish is very easy, basically. If it smells, it's no good. Simple like that. You can actually buy them in pack as well now, which is really good. So that's my cod. There we go. Now, most cod fillets you get are skinless, but this one has a skin. So what I'm going to do is to take the skin off. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to take the skin off. Now, if you take a cooking knife, just normal cooking knife, or if you've got a longer one, it's better. But I'm going to take with a more difficult one, so you can actually see exactly how you do it. Now, I've learned that over the years how to do it. So it's nothing, you know, very technical, but it's just the way you do it. So what I'm going to do is to you sort of cut in half. Don't make sure you don't cut the skin. Just go nearly to the skin, and then you slide your knife underneath the flesh, like so. And you see, you take the fish off and the skin stays there. Now there's a little bit left here, which we don't want any waste. But make sure the knife is actually quite flat when you do that. There we go. That's one piece. Then you turn it around and you do exactly the same thing. So you slide basically the knife between the flesh and the skin. Now it may take a bit of practice. It didn't work, you know, the first time for me. Over the years, as I like cooking and I like fresh fish, there we go. And you know, cod is actually very cheap fish to buy. Most people know the cod as fish and chips, you know, from the fish and chip shop. A lot of people actually use unless it's a good one. We've got a very good one here where I live. I only use fresh one, but I've been to fish and chip shop before, and they use frozen, which make it very, very chewy. So you cut then. Now, if you see any bones on the way, don't hesitate to take them off, because nothing worse than having bones in your fish. I think we're ready, yeah. So then you cut your cod in small pieces like that. Oh, I think I went through a bone. No, it's not. There we go. Small pieces. I'm just going to take this little bit off because there are bones in there. So small pieces, and you put them, so you can see, on the top, like that. So a nice little casserole. There we go. So that's one. Then you do the same with the other one. Just small pieces on the top. Make sure there's no bones. I actually choked on a bone before. I'm not very good. When I used to live in France many moons ago, I work in as a waiter in a restaurant, and they basically, we used to eat all the sort of leftover for the staff, which means we used to have pieces of fish that you could actually sell in a restaurant. And it wasn't very nice because most of them were full of bones, and actually put me off for quite a long time after that. But I'm back on now. So there we go. So we're ready here. So we put a bit more vegetables on the top. So a couple more carrots. There we go. Get a good stir as well in your. There we go. So it's actually ready. Just put a bit more water because I didn't put enough in the first place. Lovely. So yeah, it's nearly dissolved. So put a bit more. Now don't forget, you can always pause the video and start again if I'm going too fast for you. It's easier than just panic or not knowing what to do. So a bit more vegetable on the top, like that. It looks lovely already, healthy. Now, there's hardly any calories in there. This is why I'm using butter. Now, I'm not very popular in the house when I use butter. I've been told many times before. Now I'm French, so I used to have butter in everything, really. And it's bad for you, really, so I don't do that anymore. So, next thing you do, you take your tomato, sun-dried tomato puree, and you put 1 spoon in each dishes. Actually, let's be a bit generous. Put 1.5 spoons. There you go. So that is it. And then you take your 20 grams of butter, cut them in half. You put half in one dish and 1/2 any other. Okay. So this is now ready, more or less. Don't forget, if you have just one dish, you put everything the same, but just one dish. Makes no difference at the end. It's just easier to eat in one dish. And then if you don't have an oven or a dish, you just do in a normal saucepan, put it exactly as it is. Then we're going to cover with the water with the fish stock. There we go. Now, if your fish stock is not completely dissolved, I'm lucky mine is. If it's not, don't hesitate to pause the video and start again. So you take some more hot water. Yeah, so you divide in two. Make sure you got equal amount of fish stock in each before you actually put some more water. There we go. That's it. So it's ready. So what we're going to do now is take some aluminium foil. Now, if you're not cooking with the oven and the dishes, which you can put in the oven, just put it in a pan, put it on sort of 6, 7 out of 10 on your stove. If it's gas, make sure it doesn't burn at the bottom of the pan, and just put a cover on it and let it cook slowly. It's going to take about 20 minutes to cook. So we now have spent 17 minutes. There we go. So we cover it properly. Make sure it's, well, close as much as you can. If you got one dish only, just close the whole thing. Okay, that's one done. And let's do the other one. There we go. It's now ready. So I'm going to put this now in the oven. Okay. In the oven. Now the oven is nice and hot, 220. Lovely. And from now, we are going to wait for about 20 minutes. Make sure it takes about 20 minutes to cook. So we're going to give it a check in 20 minutes. In the meantime, if you want to pause the video, as usual, just press pause, then come back, do something in 20 minutes, then you come back, and then we can start again. Right, it's been 20 minutes now. Yeah, just over 20 minutes. So 21 minutes actually. So what we're going to do is take it out of the oven and have a look at it. Okay. Now do be very careful. Always use, actually not like this one, always use a very dry cloth when you take things out of the oven, because if they're wet you will burn yourself. Okay. Oh, smells lovely. Be hot. Just take one of them out. I'm just going to put it here so you can see. Right, let's have a quick look. Look at that. Now the way to find out if it's ready or not is you take your knife and pick it. Yeah, it's ready. All cooked. Carrots are ready. I'm just going to try. That looks absolutely lovely. Oops. Okay, I won't have that one. Let's try another one. That would have to be mine. Now the carrot, the reason I'm testing the carrots, because they're the longest vegetables. Perfect. Not to cook, just perfect. So let's switch off the oven. And let's take the other one out as well. Now do be very careful when you take it out. Don't want an email if somebody's actually burned themselves. Now, you got two choices. You can eat it in the dish if you're very lazy. You can just eat it in the dish. Now, if you cooked it in a bigger oven dish, basically you have to put it in the plate. Or if you cooked it in the pan, well, just serve it from there. So I'm going to take a plate. Now I'm using one of my sort of plate, but sort of more like a soup bowl. So if you got a soup bowl, it's much better because obviously there's quite a lot of juice into it. So what we're going to do is to transfer the dish into the plate, like so. There you go. Now, do be careful with the dish because it's still hot. And if you put cold water on it, it will crack straight away. So we don't want to do that. So let's clean the plate. And there you have your fish casserole. It looks beautiful and it's very tasty. So remember the ingredients, okay? Don't forget, you can, if you don't want to do that video, that recipe today, you can do it another day. Just look through the list of available recipe which are on the blog, okay? Don't forget, you can watch the video on your tablet as well. So if you watch it on the computer, if you go on your tablet and just put normally dinnerwithjp.com, then you will have exactly the same thing, and you can actually watch the video on real time with me in your kitchen. Okay, we are working out at the moment with another version for the phone. You can watch it on the phone, of course, at the moment, but sort of kind of an app. So you just click on it and you go straight away. Okay, so this is our fish pie done. Couple of birthdays before I go. Oh, actually, I don't know. No, I don't have any birthday today. I saw I had, but no birthday today. So that's it. So I shall see you on Monday. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Don't forget, you got your list, the weekly list on the website, on the blogs this morning. So you can buy your ingredient if you do your weekly shopping on Saturday. And then you get your next email on Monday morning as usual. Okay, have a lovely weekend and see you soon. Take care.